Hi, this is Jim Giovannini, the owner of ACT Success and SAT Success. This professional development is for all Tutor Doctor owners who want to raise the skills and scores of their students and, of course, raise profits in their business. This is just what the doctor ordered. Throughout this free professional development, you will learn all the ins and outs of ACT and SAT test prep. Trust me, this is the one area where your tutoring business can thrive. I look forward to you learning a lot, and feel free at the end to email us with any questions. Academic tutoring and ACT, SAT success has been around for nearly 30 years. We've been exactly where you are. We own learning centers, we do one-on-one tutoring, we do group tutoring. But we also partner with schools and with other learning centers like you. Throughout all of this, we have really learned what works and what doesn't work in our industry. And what I want to do the most as the owner of a learning center is to teach you how to be successful. So as you can see from what's on the screen, we've done a lot of things, and that's great. But I really want to share them with you so your business can thrive. So please watch this whole professional development, learn as much as you can, and jump right into the test prep market, because this is really, really the place where your company, as I keep saying, is going to thrive. Let's start with the good news. The test prep market is a $4 billion per year industry. That's a lot of money. That should definitely motivate you to say, yes, I want to do ACT and SAT test prep within my Tutor Doctor business. In fact, if you're not doing ACT or SAT, you're really missing out on a particular stream of income that will become your most important stream of income. Within the United States, every student somehow, one way or another, preps for ACT or SAT. Your job as a new Tutor Doctor owner is to learn everything you can about these two exams, so when a parent calls you, you know the answers, and that you can help get them ready and their child ready, and they're confident with what you know, and they want to sign that contract with you. We over here at ACT and SAT Success, we really are the ones that help standardize test prep throughout the entire Tutor Doctor brand. When we first came on board with Tutor Doctor a little under a decade ago, everybody was doing whatever they wanted. Today, there are over 150 Tutor Doctor owners who trust ACT and SAT Success to raise skills, scores, and profits. Our system works. It works every single time. Watch all of this presentation, learn all you can, and trust me, the test prep business within your franchise is going to explode. When a parent calls you, they want to know what kind of results they can expect. Well, we have a long track record. Remember that Tutor Doctor uses ACT and SAT Success. And so the results that we have gotten across the country in schools, one-on-one, small groups, whether it's within academic tutoring or within a Tutor Doctor program, these results matter. And you have to promote these results to your parents. So, what can you expect on ACT? If a student goes through your entire ACT Success program, and most Tutor Doctor owners sell a 24-hour program, the results are 3 to a 5-point increase. That's average. Yes, some students go up less, and yes, some students go up more. I would say our average increase is 3 points, as you can see on the screen. But it's not unusual to have a student increase their score by 6 or 7 composite points. When it comes to SAT, this is a brand new test. It's only been around for a couple of years now. It's back on the 1600 scale, and the results we're seeing are 100 to 200 point score improvements, which correlates to that 3 to 5 ACT points, by the way. The program works. Parents want to know it works. They want to know the history. And so this is a nearly 30-year history that Tutor Doctor relies on to show that their ACT and SAT test prep works every single time. If the kids do the program and they do the work, their scores are going to go up. As a Tutor Doctor owner, it is imperative that you and or your ECs know the differences between the ACT and the SAT exam. Yes, they're both college entrance exams, but they are different in many, many ways. I'm not going to read this entire screen to you. It is your job to get intimately familiar with both exams. If a parent calls you and they feel you are a little unknowledgeable about either exam, they will move on and call the next company. You owe it to yourself, to your financial investment, to the sweat equity you are putting into this company, to learn the differences between these two exams. So, for example, ACT has 4 sections: English, math, reading, science, and an optional essay. SAT has 2 sections, but those sections are broken down into other parts. So the first section is reading and then writing and language. So it's a reading test and an English test. And then there's a math section, but it's math no calculator and math calculator, student produced response and multiple choice. All of these things have to be able to flow out of your mouth quickly and easily. You have to know about the content covered. You have to know about sort of which test fits which student the best. You especially have to know about scoring. ACT is scored 1 out of 36. SAT is scored out of 1,600. You have to know how those scores are broken down. If you can't talk the talk and walk the walk when a parent calls you, they're going to know it. So part of your training today is to get familiar with ACT and SAT. I'll keep coming back to this about how you, the owner, can really learn these 2 exams. But ultimately, there's a training another training I want you to go through that is part of our teacher's guide, and that will get you ready to really answer absolutely any question a parent can throw at you. Know the differences between the exams. The next slide will have a few more differences that you can look at. You can see that the differences between ACT and SAT continue. Math is very similar. It's all levels of high school math. Where they're popular, we'll be digging into that in the next slide. How often are these tests offered? You know what? They're offered a lot. They seem to be offered all year long at this point. In fact, ACT now has a summertime July exam, which means that you can be doing test prep all year long. I will tell you the most popular, common time for your students to take an ACT or SAT is spring of junior year. That is when nearly every high school student does take it. Some will take it earlier, some will take it later, some will retake it. But the main time is spring of junior year, which means 11th grade at the beginning of the year is where you want to hook these students in, get them signed up for their test prep for all the hours you want them to do, and then after they take the test, have them come back for some refreshers, because no matter how well they did, no matter how much their scores improve, they always seem to want to do a little bit more, which is a great opportunity for you to sell them another 5 or 6 hours. Again, as I said, how long does it take you to prep? Well, most Tutor Doctor owners sell a 24-hour package. Some do more, some do less. We have multiple lesson plans for you to choose from, but the 24-hour package is the one that really gets the top results that families can afford, that students have time for, because this is also a time crunch. You'll learn more about the differences between ACT and SAT as we continue our conversation in this training. You're going to get a lot of questions about which of the 2 tests should a student take. A parent will call up and say, well, I don't know which one's better for them. First and foremost, it's geography. If everybody in your state is doing an SAT, then most of your calls will be for SAT. You can see the SAT states listed at the bottom there. If you live in one of the states where it's ACT, which is sort of in the middle of the screen there, that will be the majority of your phone calls. Why is it this way? Well, all the states on the screen here use one or the other exam as their official state exam for 11th graders, which means that those kids are taking the test for free in the 11th grade. And so a parent will almost always ask for the test that the kid has to take anyway. Neither test is better or worse than the other one. Every university accepts either exam. If you want to go to Harvard, Princeton, Yale, it used to be that you had to take an SAT. That's not the case anymore. Harvard, Princeton, Yale, every Ivy League is very happy to accept an ACT score, because everybody applying to those colleges is going to have a perfect or near perfect score. And same thing if you're in an SAT state. If you happen to live in Michigan, doesn't mean that to get into the University of Michigan you have to have an SAT. They're very happy to take a very solid ACT score. Every university in the nation understands that both of these exams pretty much measure the same sets of skills. The questions are simply put in a different way. And so the kids are just looking for the best score possible. Again, most likely the parents will call you asking for prep for whichever test is most popular in your state. But there are differences between the two exams, which you learned a little bit about, and I'm going to teach you more about in a minute. And some students will prep for both. It's not a bad thing to prep for both. They don't have to. Yes, you get to sell 2 preps, but most students honestly only have time to prep for one, and most families only have money to prep for one. Path of least resistance is often the way to go, which is, what is everybody else doing? And if everybody in your state is doing SAT, then just do the SAT. If everybody's doing ACT and the parent wants SAT, don't try to talk them out of it. Sometimes you will get a parent who calls and really doesn't know which exam is best. And perhaps you don't know. You've probably never been in the education field before. Over 90% of tutor doctor owners have zero education background, and so why would you know about these things? It's your job to now get educated. So a number of years ago, I created this diagnostic exam exclusively for Tutor Doctor. It's called Which Test is Right for Me? ACT versus SAT. It's a diagnostic exam. It's free. You don't have to purchase it from us. We wrote it for free and delivered it for free to Tutor Doctor for all Tutor Doctor franchisees to use if you want to. Ask your FFC for a digital copy of this. It's free. There are 2 versions of this. There's a full version and then a student survey only version. On the next slide, I'll dig a little deeper into this. On the full version of the diagnostic ACT versus SAT, there are a number of pieces included. There is a mini ACT, a mini SAT, a student survey. Of course, there is an answer key and a scoring rubric. It will only take a student about 1 hour to complete this entire diagnostic, which is much easier than a student taking a full-length practice ACT, a full-length practice SAT, and then you comparing the two, because that entire thing will take a student about 8 hours. That is not time most students have. In this 1 hour diagnostic, you should be able to tell which of the 2 exams is better for a student to take. Now keep in mind, I want to stress this, you do not have to give this to every student. The majority of parents who call you, the majority of students who want prep, will be calling for a very specific test. They will say, I need ACT prep, or I need SAT prep. Don't fight the system, don't fight the parent. If they know what they want, they know what they want, sell them that preparation. It makes no difference. Don't make their life more complicated. Don't make your life more complicated. So this diagnostic tool is when a parent calls up and says, I'm really not sure what to do. Well, here's a great way to find out. Let me point out one more difference between ACT and SAT. ACT is 4 sections, right? We talked about that. English, math, reading, science. But SAT is 2 sections, sort of a verbal section, reading and writing and language, and then math, which means 50% of the score on SAT is math. So a student who is really strong at math will often prefer the SAT because it represents 50% of their score. On the other hand, a student who is a little weaker at math might often prefer the ACT because it only represents 1/4 of their composite score. Things to keep in mind when a family does come to you and says, I'm not sure which one to take. But one more time, let me remind you, most families will know exactly which test they want their student to prepare for. So when you do decide to use this diagnostic, how should you use it? What are the ways in which you can use it to help build your business? Well, I kind of said the key right there, to help build your business. I designed this for tutor doctor owners to grow their personal franchise. You could offer this as a free or a fee-based diagnostic. But free is a great way to draw a business in and say, look, I will give your child a free diagnostic between ACT and SAT, not charge you anything, and then I will sit down with you as a family and say, hey, this is what looks like best, and here's what we offer for test prep. By offering this free diagnostic, you really position yourself as the expert on both exams. And let's say you live in a state where neither ACT nor SAT is favored. It's sort of a 50-50 mix. Well, wouldn't it be great for you to say, I know both tests inside and out. Let's sit down, give you a free diagnostic, or charge you $99, and if you sign up with us, then we waive that $99 fee. This is a great way to build business. You could highlight this on your website if you think this is a question that you receive often from parents. Say, come in for our call for our free diagnostic. The way to do this, once they call you, is you drop it off at home, shake their hands, say hello, say, I'll be back tomorrow to score this, or I'll be back next Wednesday to score this. Don't leave them with the answer key. Do not do that. That is your property. That is for you. This is why I created it for Tutor Doctor. If you leave the answer key out there, then the whole world has it. It's just for Tutor Doctor owners. So you drop off this diagnostic at the house, shake their hand, smile, and say, let's make an appointment. I'll be back to score this. And you scored. It takes you literally 3 minutes to score it in front of the student and the parent. And then you talk about which test is best for them to prep for. And right there, you get them to sign on the dotted line your 24-hour contract for either ACT or SAT test prep. And if you're lucky, sometimes both. I think by now you're probably picking up on the fact that we're really here to partner with you, that I want you to know the difference between ACT and SAT. Yes, they're both college entrance exams, but they are different exams. I firmly believe that if you want to be successful in this franchise, this thing you have dropped a lot of money on, and you've put in a lot of personal time, well then you and anybody who works for you must know each test, and you must know it well. You should never lose a test prep sale. Your goal is 100% close rate. If a family calls you and talks to you personally about test prep, they should never call anywhere else. They should not call another franchise, or they should not call a private tutor they found on Craigslist or off of Wyzant or anywhere else. The only way for that to happen is for you and anybody who talks to them from Tutor Doctor on the phone to be an expert about both exams. Not just in how many hours it is to prep and what kind of results I get, but can you talk about the exam? If you can talk about the exam, if you can give them a few little gems about the exam, if you can talk about how their student will learn things on the exam, then they will not call anywhere else and they will sign that contract with you. So remember, we are here to partner with you. ACT and SAT success, we want to teach you. We want to encourage you. We want to share our nearly 30 years of test prep experience. Do not leave this to your tutors. Do not let them just choose, any book they want at the bookstore. It's a bad idea. Go with what works, what has decade after decade of proven track records that this works. We're here to help you. Academic Tutoring, ACT, and SAT Success is here to help you grow your test prep business. To grow that test prep business, you really have to know the top selling points. When a parent calls you, they're going to want to know why you're different, why you're better than everybody else. And obviously, you don't want to bash the competition. You just want to talk about why Tutor Doctor is so awesome. And so over the next few slides, you're going to get a few bullet points of things I really want you to remember, things you can say, things you could highlight on your website if you'd like to. But particularly when you're talking to a family, this is what they want to know. So 97% of Tutor Doctor students increase their test scores. Honestly, it's impossible to not increase your score. If a student goes through a full prep, 24-hour program, even less is okay too, and they do all the homework that's assigned, and they really practice, their score is going up. Yes, on rare occasions, somebody's score doesn't go up. Factors out of our control sometimes. 97% is a solid track record for Tutor Doctor. Remind the parent that even a small increase in a score can result in major scholarship dollars. Many Tutor Doctor students have earned up to $40,000 per year in academic scholarships. That's amazing. It really is. Remember, most scholarships are not given for athletics. Very little has to do with athletics. It has everything to do with your GPA and your ACT or SAT score. So this investment now will come back to a parent sometimes 1,000-fold in scholarship dollars. When parents think about scholarships, they're often thinking of those athletic scholarships. And I just told you, very few, it's less than 1% are based on athletics for full ride scholarships, which means 99% of the college money all comes down to what is a student's GPA and what is their test score. Even a small improvement of 1 or 2 ACT points or 50 or 100 SAT points is the difference from no free money to, oh, here's $5,000 a year to offset the cost of tuition. That means the world to a family. So if they're wondering, oh, is this really worth it? Explain to them about scholarships. Talk to parents about scholarships, that oftentimes test scores are the determining factor in getting scholarship money. Parents are also going to want to know why your test prep works. And one of the big selling points for ACT and SAT success is that it's presented in manageable pieces. We do not overwhelm the student by doing practice test after practice test after practice test. That is useless. We present everything in manageable pieces, and on the next slide you're going to see the order of those manageable pieces. It's important that you know what they are so that you can then sell this to the parent and make the parent feel comfortable and confident that you are the right place for their child. As I said, you have to know the top selling points. So when a parent calls and you've had a little conversation with them, they're going to want to know how this works. When you first talk to them, just say, tell me about your child. Tell me about their academic history. Tell me what they like in school. Tell me what sports they're on. Every parent loves to talk about their child. But once you have them in that conversation, they are going to want to know how Tutor Doctor Prep works. So here it is in some simple steps. Make sure you know what's on the screen. So you tell the parent, we offer a pretest. Now, does every child need a pretest? Not necessarily. If a student has just taken an ACT or SAT and you know their score, there's no reason to torture that child with another exam. Just use that as the jumping off point. And you being honest with the parent about that will make the parent already trust you. Look, your child just took a test. Let's use that as a starting point. We can base our tutoring on that. But if a parent calls and says, well, my daughter has never taken a test, all right, let me give you a pretest, show you where they're at, and build a plan around that. Then the next thing we do is we teach your child the exact strategies for success. Every exam, ACT and SAT, has tricks, hints, and tips. They're very unique. Tutor Doctor's been at it for nearly 30 years. You can tell them with ACT and SAT success, we know what works on these exams. The next thing we do is we review the exact skills tested on the exam. Explain to the parent that both ACT and SAT repeatedly test the exact same skills, the same academic skills. Every single time, we will focus exactly on those skills so that the student isn't wasting their time and they're getting ready for the exact exam they're taking. Next, you will provide skill builders to reinforce each test-taking strategy and academic skill needed for success. So you can kind of see now, pretest if they need it, strategies, hints, tricks, and tips, then academic skills that are tested over and over again, and then we put it all together in skill builders, one little bite at a time, so that they're not overwhelmed by the entire exam, just a little skill builder. From skill builders, the next bullet point, we move to practice passages and quizzes, and for the first time, you will time the students. The students will be working on pacing, which is a big piece of test prep. They have to learn how to finish these exams on time, especially the ACT. The ACT can be very difficult to finish on time. So you can see one bite at a time. We're building all this up in one little bite at a time. Once they've learned all that, then your tutors will have their students do full-length practice exams within the ACT or SAT success textbook. Here the students can put it all together. And finally, once they've done all those exams, they've reviewed them with the tutor, you can give them a post-test and do a few extra tweaks right before the actual exam. Again, when a parent calls you, they want to know that you understand the process of test prep. And by explaining manageable pieces, bite-sized pieces, we won't overwhelm your child. We're going to teach them the skills, hints, tricks, strategies. We're going to review the exact skills tested. Then we're going to give them skill builders so they build success after success. And then practice passages where we work on pacing. And then finally, full-length exams where we review that and they put it all together. This method works. It works every time. It's the reason we get these amazing score improvements. It's why Tutor Doctor Test Prep with ACT and SAT success works every single time. If you really want to sell, you need to know a few strategies. In other words, you need to be able to talk as though you are the tutor. You're the person actually doing the tutoring. So, here are a few strategies you can talk about. Your Personal A Plus. I will do 2 slides after this, and I promise you, if you talk to a parent in depth about Your Personal A Plus, they will believe you. They will want to sign their child up with you. Also, what if you told a parent, look, there are exactly 16 punctuation rules on the ACT, or on the SAT, there's 17. So very similar. And what if you personally, as the owner, named 2 or 3 of those punctuation rules, and then you explain, look, your student has learned, hundreds of punctuation rules, but ACT and SAT only test the exact same 16 or 17 over and over and over again. We're going to remind your child of those exact 16 or 17, make sure they know how to do them, and their English score is going to go through the roof. The parent's like, it's like, wow, you're a magician. You know exactly what's on the test. You're going to talk about pacing with a parent. We understand that your child may be having a hard time finishing these exams on time. We're going to teach them how to finish on time, because that's what ACT and SAT success does. You will point out some of the differences between math and reading on the ACT and SAT. But to be honest, the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you train yourself as though you are a tutor, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, how you, the owner, can get trained so that you really could tutor it if you had to. And of course, the most important thing, you've heard me say this a few times, you want to show empathy and commitment to their child. Just ask a lot about their child. Every child is different. Every brain is different. They're all going for their personal A+. And as soon as you talk about that, you'll be showing that empathy. So let's talk a little bit about your personal A+. A perfect score on an ACT is a 36. But let's be honest, how many students really get a perfect 36? Throughout the entire country, it's less than 1%. So yes, it's manageable, it's doable. It's not really manageable, but it's doable, but it's unlikely. And so instead of torturing a child and making them feel like, oh my gosh, I have to get every single one right, we want them to do something different. We want every student to earn their personal A+, which is basically resetting a perfect score. If a child comes in and they've taken a pretest either at school or with you, and let's say their ACT score was 21, which by the way is the national average. Not a bad score, not a great score, but not a bad score. What is the goal? Well, in my opinion, in the opinion of ACT success, every student should reach for at least 5 points higher. Now our average is 3 to 5. If they go up 2 or 3 points, that's awesome. But let's make it a solid goal, something we really have to strive for. 5 points. But let's show a student how they can do that. On English, there are 75 questions. To go up 5 points in the English section, they only need between 10 to 14 more questions right. So instead of saying, oh, I have 40 right now and I suddenly need 75 right, a student can say, oh, I have 40 right. Yes, I can now get 50 to 54 right. I can do that. That is manageable after all my training. It gives them the ability to say, yes, I can do this. On math, out of 60 questions, again, 10 to 14 more right. That's it. You don't need to go from 30 right to 60 right because that's never going to happen. But could you go from 30 right to 40 or 42 right or something like that? Absolutely. On reading and science, there are 40 questions. And to go up 5 points, sometimes a student only needs 5 more questions right in each of those subjects. So if a student comes in and they have 22 right in reading currently, which means they're probably getting a 21 or something like that right now, could they get 5 more right and go from 22 right to 27 right? Could they maybe get 8 more right and get 30 right? Yes, that is manageable. But to try to get a student to say, oh, I have to get them all right when I'm only getting like 60% of them right now, it's impossible. It seems like impossible. So we create your personal A+ so the student has a goal to reach for, a goal that will get them into a lot of great colleges, that will get them scholarship dollars. Your personal A+. You talk about how you're going to raise their score and a parent will listen. You talk about your personal A+, that you're not going to try to get the child to believe, oh, I need a perfect 36. But instead, I'm going to go from a 25 to a 29 or 30, and that's awesome. A parent will understand that a perfect 36 is nearly impossible. Now, let's be honest, some kids will be striving for a 36. Any student who comes to you with, I'd say, a 29 or 30 on a pretest or a test they just took, yeah, you should be aiming for a perfect 36 no matter what. But that's not where most students start. Most students start in the teens or low 20s. And so to say I'm going to get a perfect 36, 12 weeks later is impossible. Let's make it manageable. Your personal A plus. And your tutors will be working with the students on this as well. Now let's look at what personal A plus is for SAT. It's the same story on SAT. A perfect 1600 is nearly impossible. Sure, if a student comes in the door that has, a 1350, well, there's only one place to aim for, and that's a 1600. But most students are going to walk in the door with somewhere around 1,000, right? Around 1,900 to an 1,100. So getting a perfect score is just not realistic, and let's not torture the child. Let's give them permission to get some wrong and still get an awesome score. So, on the math sections of the SAT, we want them to ultimately try to get 10 more right out of 58 questions. 10 more right would be a 100-point increase. But even if they only got 5 more right, that would be a 50-point increase. On the verbal sections, which is reading, and then like the English, the writing and language section, again, if they got 10 more right there, that would be a 100-point increase. And there are 96 available questions here, so getting 10 more right here is very doable. But even if they only got 5 more right, that's still 50 points. So when you put these two sections together, suddenly they're up between 10 to 20 more questions correct. Every question is about 10 more points on an SAT scale. So they're up somewhere between 100 to 200 points. So if a student walks in with a 1050 and is walking out after tutoring with Tutor Doctor an 1150 or 1250, that is outstanding. You're going to get referral after referral. Plus, the student is going to feel great about herself. She's going to feel like she conquered the world, that she got her personal A+. She's going to get into a lot of schools that she wanted to get into, and there's going to be scholarship money on the table. The only way to get these points, though, is with preparation. So when you talk to a parent, you have to explain it doesn't happen by magic. It's that bite-sized pieces, one thing at a time. First, we teach strategies, and then skill builders, and then practice passages, and finally full-length practice tests. We're going to build success one step at a time with your child so that they can earn their personal A+ and feel great about themselves while they're doing it. So much of the prep you do will be motivation. Your tutors, when they're trained with us in the ACT, SAT method, so much of it is about motivation. And you'll see that if you go through the training as well. As a brand new owner, this must be overwhelming. There are so many places you could choose materials from. But I want to reiterate that we have been with Tutor Doctor for nearly a decade at this point, and we really help standardize test prep within the Tutor Doctor brand. ACT Success and SAT Success works every single time. It's easy to use. Let me explain the ACT Success book. What you're looking at on screen is the cover of the Tutor Doctor ACT Success book. The book is about 600 pages long. What's inside of that book? We start with strategies and rules for each of the sections: English, math, reading, science, and of course the optional essay. Once we get through all the strategies and rules, then we have skill builders in each of those sections that create the success we were talking about. Those skill builders then of course are followed up with quizzes and practice passages. And then there are 5 full-length updated practice tests in there. Again, we're looking for between a 3 to 5 point composite increase. Keep in mind that the ACT is still a paper and pencil exam. Students must practice with a book, not just online, in order to truly earn their personal A+. Online it's slick and everybody likes it, but after 30 years in the industry, I'm telling you, the best results are still paper and pencil and using an actual textbook. Online is great. It's not great for ACT and SAT test prep. As a supplement, I guess it's satisfactory, but it's not the way to prep. The SAT Success textbook is very similar to ACT Success textbook. Again, it's not online, it's paper and pencil. That's how students are really going to learn how they're going to improve. The ACT and SAT will not become official online exams for close to a decade. Why? Because schools just aren't ready, bandwidth, software, etc., to put every student, millions of kids across the nation online at the exact same time. Nobody's ready for that. This is a paper and pencil exam. So the SAT Success textbook has strategies and rules, skill builders, quizzes, full-length practice exams. It's all about one bite at a time. The book that you're looking at is the book that your students use. It is also the tutor book. It's the same thing for ACT, that book is also the book your tutors will use. It's the same book for both tutor and student. The difference is that there's a teacher's guide that the tutors have that the students never see. So these are the two books that you'll be purchasing to build your test prep business. They've been around a long time and they work every time. You've heard me mention tutor training or training for you. It cannot be ignored. I believe that both tutors and management must prep. When was the last time you actually took an ACT or an SAT? And if you actually just answered that question, you probably laughed out loud instead of high school and you never wanted to do it again. But if you really want to get good at selling, at always closing your sales, that's why I put this little graphic up here, always be closing, you have to know these exams. The only way to really know them is to prep. So you're going to see in a minute, we offer free tutor and management training as part of our package. So when you purchase this, I have created a full training for your tutors and for you and for any ECs that you may hire along the way so that you really know the exams, because I never want you to lose a sale, never ever. And the only way to do that is for you to be willing to go through the training as though you were going to teach it. Even if you're not going to teach it, you go through the training one time and you will never lose a test prep sale. Let's talk about what's in those teacher's guides and that training. The teacher's guides for either program, either ACT Success or SAT Success. And keep in mind, they're completely separate from each other because they have to be. They're very different exams. When you purchase the teacher's guides from us, they are delivered as a PDF, as a site license to your particular franchise. You get your own personal code that works for you. It's a one-time purchase. You never have to buy it again. What's included in these teacher's guide? Well, first of all, explicit lesson plans, multiple sets of lesson plans to choose from. I've said it before, the 24-hour plan is the most common plan, but there are others to choose from. Use that 24-hour plan and your students will always be prepped. But there's 10-hour plans, 16-hour plans, etc. We also include fully explained answers to every single question, which your tutors will want sometimes. Most of the time, they will understand why a right answer is right and why a wrong answer is wrong. But even the best tutors can argue with the test. So we provide fully explained answers for your tutors. We also give clear homework assignments so that your tutors aren't guessing what is the best thing to assign to these students. Don't leave it to your tutors. They don't have 30 years of test prep experience, but ACT and SAT Success does. Use the homework assignments we suggest, and the scores are going up every single time. This is what I mean by consistent score improvements. The plan is right here in the teacher's guides. It's right there. It works every time. It's like test prep in a box for you. It takes the mystery out of it, and for a very low investment, you are ready to tap into that $4 billion test prep market. Let's talk a little bit more about what else comes with ACT and SAT Success. The whole goal here is that you don't need to train your tutors. We do that for you. Your job is to hire quality tutors, people with the right degrees, with the right personalities, and who have time to tutor and want to tutor for you, right? Except most of them won't come to you with any test prep experience, and some of them will come with test prep experience, but with the wrong test prep experience. And so you want them to run through this tutor training program that we created for you within ACT and SAT Success. There is a full teacher training module that's included. It includes video lessons for both ACT and SAT. There are about 6 lessons for your tutors to complete. There is even a final exam for your tutors to take and you to grade. Now, what do I mean by that? You give them the training. Once they do it, you give them the final exam, but don't give them the answers. You score it and see how they did on it. I would recommend 80% or better. If a tutor gets 80% or better on the final exam for the tutor training, I think they are ready. What we are not testing are actual academic skills. I'm assuming you're hiring people who know English and who know math. What we're training them on is how to teach ACT or SAT specifically, all the strategies that are included in either one of these exams, the things that sets Tutor Doctor apart because of ACT and SAT Success, because you're teaching the right strategies every single time. I also highly recommend you as the owner, and if you happen to hire an educational consultant, an EC one day, that you do this training as well. Yes, you should do the training, because this way when a parent calls you, you can talk intelligently to either exam. If you do this training, I promise you, you're never going to lose a test prep sale. So this training is here for you, for any tutor you hire, no matter how many you hire, no matter over how many years. You don't have to worry, do my tutors know what they're teaching? I don't have to worry about it because they've done the training. I know what you're thinking, how long will it take? When you go to our website further, you'll see that. But in general, I would say it's about 6 to 8 hours that it will take them to do it. And if they're not willing to train, well then you shouldn't have them working for you. You have a quality brand to uphold here. Quality that works every single time. So they have to do the training if they want to work for you. Another awesome selling point for parents is that you offer official pre and post ACT assessments. What does this mean? It means we provide you with official ACT or SAT exams, ones that have been nationally normed. The students take these exams if they choose to, if you choose to give it, and we deliver to you via PDF this beautiful 6-page color report that is really the industry standard. It's imperative that you can prove the efficacy of your program. So if a student comes to you and has just taken an SAT, fine, no need to give them the pre-test because you don't need to torture that student. But if they haven't taken one, give them a pre-SAT from us. A few days later, you will get the results from us, and it will be a report that is industry standard. It's realistic feedback. It has the Tutor Doctor logo on it. It's a quick turnaround time. I will tell you that our reports are a favorite of schools across the country. We work with hundreds of school districts, and the number one reason we get into those school districts is the quality of our diagnostic exam reports. The same exam reports you give to your parents. Yeah, there are a lot of places you can get a diagnostic report. These reports drill down on a level that even ACT and SAT from the official companies don't drill down. Parent, you show them this report, again, you will close the sale every single time. So the assessments don't necessarily have to be given to every single student. I would like to say they were, because I'd like to sell you an assessment for every single student, but you only need to do it if that student hasn't taken an exam already. If they just took one, fine. Use that as your pre-exam. A post-exam is always a great idea, and that name post-exam really is a misnomer. It shouldn't come at the very end of the prep, maybe a few sessions before the end, giving your tutor time to tweak a few little lessons, etc. So that's what the exams look like. You can start to see hopefully where all these pieces are coming together now. You have the books, you have the teacher training, you have the assessments, you have lesson plans. It's a one-stop shop for everything you might need for ACT, SRT, SAT, and it's very easy to use. Let's talk a little bit then about how to sort of grow that business and where you could grow that business. Let's do that in the next slide. Most Tutor Doctor business is one-to-one, right? You go into the homes, your tutors go into the homes, and that's where you do it. Most test prep is a 24-hour program. That's what 90% of Tutor Doctor owners sell. But keep in mind that there are other places and other lesson plans you can choose from. You can do in-home, in schools. You could rent space. You could do a 10-hour prep for students who are crunched for time, a 16-hour prep, a 24-hour prep. You could design your own. You could do one-to-one. You could do small groups, large groups. Kind of a lot right here on this slide. I have a number of other presentations that I've done with Tutor Doctor, and you can ask your FFC for them to hear more about group prep. There's a lot of money to be made in group prep. But for right now, if you're a new owner, stick to one-on-one. Once you get good at one-on-one after a few months, maybe approach your local high school and ask them, what are you currently doing to provide test prep for your students? And they probably have some company in there already, or their teachers are doing it. And then you simply say, as a Tutor Doctor owner, I'd love to show you what we do. Could I have 10 minutes of your time? And they'll probably say yes. And you go in and you sit down with the principal, who you probably already know, and you show them your ACT and SAT success books. And you talk to them about the exam. And before you know it, you may be running after school ACT or SAT exams right in that school. It's a great place to do it rent-free. Because as a Tutor Doctor owner, you always have to watch the bottom line. So start out in homes like you're supposed to. That's what Tutor Doctor does. They do tutoring in home, right? You deliver tutors to the homes. And then start to build upon that and think about doing group prep in schools or even outside of schools where you might have to rent space. If you do happen to land that school meeting with the principal and you go in and you sit down to talk with the principal and he or she wants to hear about it, bring the book with you. Bring either the ACT book or the SAT book with you, depending on what state you live in. Open up to the table of contents. And because you would have already done the full teacher training, you will be intimately familiar with the book and with each exam. And review the introduction of either book, whether it's ACT or SAT, and then review a few strategies with that principal or counselor or superintendent. If you can do those things, that's how you will get into a school. How does my company get into hundreds of schools across the country? Because we sit down with principals mainly, sometimes superintendents, and we talk to them about the ACT or about the SAT with the book in our hand, and we talk about the strategies, the simple strategies that we can teach their students and maybe even their teachers. And a principal will almost always say yes at that point. Let's give it a shot. Let's have you run a class here. So know that textbook, know the strategies, review it. This is why I keep saying management should know the rules. I want you to grow your business. And it's not always just one-on-one test prep. You really have an opportunity to get into schools or to run groups in other locations, park district, churches, etc. But whoever you're sitting down to have a talk with, they're going to have to trust you. Not just that you're a good business person, but that you're a great educator, that you know the test. So I'm really imploring you to purchase the teacher training and run yourself through it. Take that teacher training. It will help you in your sales, both one-on-one and to schools. Like I've said, I never want you to lose a sale, but more importantly, I never want you to lose money with ACT success or SAT success. So it's simple. You order only when you know you have students, and you can order your materials in any quantity you would like. You can order them one at a time. You can order them 100 at a time. Most Tutor Doctor owners tend to order between 5 and 10 at a time. You can order one if you would like. We strongly suggest that you always have a few extra on hand because there's nothing worse than getting a student last minute and not having books ready. Most owners will charge families a materials or a resource fee. So if you're paying $40 per student to us, charge the family maybe $90 or $105 as a resource fee. That way you are literally making a profit on the materials. This is why I say you will never lose money with us. This fee is always marked up from what you pay for the materials and or the assessments. Using our products and our services creates reliable, consistent success every time, but I also want you to create reliable, consistent profit every time. And so the key is that we keep our prices very low for Tutor Doctor owners. And then you have every right to turn around and upsell that. So again, if you're spending, let's say, between $40 to $75 with academic tutoring for ACT success or SAT success for each student, you should be charging the family at least double whatever you're paying us. And that way you're making a profit on it. It's a win-win situation for everybody. You're making a profit and the students are absolutely increasing their scores, their skills, and their scholarship opportunities. If you're looking for some marketing ideas, first I can tell you, talk with your FFC. Attend all the trainings, stay on all the global phone calls. Why? Because this is where all your marketing ideas come from. There are a lot of very experienced Tutor Doctor owners who use ACT, SAT success that'll be happy to share with you what they've done right. But please allow me to share a few things with you that I know work. First of all, you have to update your website and your internet efforts to push your new test prep offerings. So if your website doesn't say very much about ACT prep or SAT prep, make it a priority. Make it one of the bullet points on your home page. Make it a drop-down menu. And don't just say test prep. Say ACT prep, SAT prep. You'll gain even more organic searches that way. Another thing you could do is you could purchase direct mailing lists. I would suggest a company called infousa.com, but there's a number of mailing houses. They can really target it. I want households with only teenagers that make over $125,000 a year. Yes, that costs a little bit of money, and doing a mailing costs money, but it does work. We use it every year, and it works. If possible, maybe you can get a student directory directly from the high school. That is some really hyper-focused mailings. Most of those directories today are digital, so it's unlikely that many high schools have that. It's why you have to rely on your internet efforts and maybe mailing lists. Of course, use the flyers that Tutor Doctor has created for ACT and SAT success. Just ask your FFC for them. We don't have them, but your FFC does. They were created by Tutor Doctor for Tutor Doctor. Another thing you could do is to offer free group assessments. You could give that diagnostic, which test is better for me, to a bunch of kids and advertise it around your community for free and bring them into a church on a Saturday afternoon to do that, or a Saturday morning. You could give them a fully free ACT or fully free SAT if your community doesn't offer something like that. It's a great marketing tool. And of course, you should attend as many local or community events as possible as the ACT, SAT expert. Parents want to hear from you. They have so many questions. And because at this point, you've been trained, you've purchased the ACT or SAT success materials, you've done the teacher training, you've watched this video, you watch the other videos that come with the training, you are ready. You'll be able to answer every question that is out there. And so you're going to go from a brand new Tutor Doctor owner who had a career in a totally different industry, knew nothing about education, to a few weeks from now knowing everything you need to know about ACT or SAT and being able to answer almost every question a parent has. It's really the best way to market it, is to just know the tests. And of course, one of my favorite marketing techniques is to put flyers all over your hometown. I mean, you have purchased a particular zip code or two. Go to the business districts, bring your flyers, drop them off, put them on store windows, ask if you can do it, what are known as guerrilla marketing efforts. As much as you can get that Tutor Doctor logo out there, that branding out there, that is the way to do it. Again, your fellow franchisees will really be able to point you in the right way. There are a few of them who are great at it. Attend your DBA each year. Make sure you're on your global calls. Talk to your FFCs. Talk to your mentors. Talk on the chat boards for Tutor Doctor, and you will learn even more marketing ideas for ACT and SAT success. I thought that perhaps I would whet your appetite with group prep and what kind of ROI, or return on investment, you get. Again, you're mainly going to do one-on-one, and if you're a brand new owner, stick to that for at least a little bit until you learn more about ACT and SAT. But pretty quickly, you're going to be comfortable. Here's some stuff on large group and small group test prep. Large group is usually done in a school. They've let you in. They've let you use their space. It doesn't really cost you any rent. And they're doing the marketing for you. And on the right side is small group instruction. I say 5 students per ability group, but you could do 8, 10, you could do 3. These are just suggestions. I don't need to run through each of these hours, but this model is a model that I have personally been using for 27 years. It works. It works every single time. Every year, my company, Academic Tutoring, based in the Chicagoland area, runs both small groups and large groups. We run small groups in our offices because we have offices, but if we didn't have offices, I would go to a church or community center to rent a little office space. And we run 5 students at a time. It's a shorter course, less hours, but it works. In schools, we do the large group instruction, and we partner with dozens of schools just in the Chicagoland area where we run large groups. We run a lot of groups. And as you can see from the profit end of things, to do this one time a year for just a few months, it really works. There is no reason why you as a Tutor Doctor owner can't also be doing this within a few years. You will not start out with, oh, I'm running 25 groups here and 20 groups over here and 10 groups over here. You start with 1, just like anybody does. But even 1 is profitable, as you can see. So learn one-on-one first. But within a few months, you're going to be comfortable there. You're going to know what's going on. And then you owe it to yourself and to your business to figure out, how do I do a little bit bigger? How do I grow this thing? How do I offer a little bit of group instruction and make even more profit? Don't ever apologize for making profit. Yes, you're in education and we're here to help students. but we also have to make a little bit of money along the way. And doing group prep once a year, getting ready for those spring exams, really works. And no, this does not cut into your one-on-one. We've never lost any one-on-one business because of groups. There are families who just can't afford to pay $1,800 or $2,000 for one-on-one, but they can afford a few $100s for group prep. Try this after you've done the one-on-one. If you have questions, you can always email us. I'm happy to talk you through it. There are also some other presentations I've done for Tutor Doctor, and all you have to do is ask your FFC about it, and they will send you those presentations as well. But again, I'm happy to talk to you about it. Okay, so at this point, I hope you feel you know a lot about ACT and SAT success. It really is one-stop shopping. Over 150 Tutor Doctor owners use us. We really are the ones that standardize test prep within Tutor Doctor. And remember, the ACT and the SAT are paper and pencil exams. This is what you should be using. So if you want to order, go to our website. There it is on screen, academictutoringcenters.com/TD. You can also go to the Tutor Doctor Virtual Mall, click on the academic tutoring link, which will be found under test prep. Either of those will take you to your own home page. You will very clearly see two giant buttons, one for brand new owners and one for existing owners. If you're a brand new owner, click on the brand new owner button. There's some more things you have to learn there. If you're an existing client and you've been ordering from us, you'll click on the other button. This is one-stop shopping. It's very easy. New customers will receive a site ID upon your first visit. All existing customers, you already know you need a site ID. If you've forgotten it, just email us at info@actsuccess.org. And that works for both ACT and SAT Success, that email. Get started, and you'll be raising skills and scores. You will find all of the pricing right on our webpage that is designed just for Tutor Doctor owners. So click over there, watch the video there, look at our prices. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. Look forward to working with you. And finally, as we wrap up, don't take my word for it. Take your colleagues' word for it, your peers. On the screen are two Tutor Doctor owners who have done a lot of work with us. But again, we have over 150 partners. There's a reason. Our system works every single time. It's super affordable. When you go to our website, all the Tutor Doctor prices will be listed up there. And for just a little bit of investment, a very small investment, you will have your own branded test prep program ready to go. You will know everything you need to know about ACT and SAT, and you will never lose a test prep sale. So again, I'm Jim Giovannini. I'm the owner and founder of Academic Tutoring. I'm here to help you grow your test prep business. I hope you found this presentation helpful. I look forward to meeting you in person one day or talking to you over the phone. Thank you so much, and the best of luck.